Hey, 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 come join me. We got some cool stuff to talk about today. Come on board. I got a bright light in my face there, don't I? I got bright lights in my face. Well, that didn't help out very much, did it? All right, come join me, guys. Here we go. We're going live on a Facebook show. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you coming from? You guys come on board. We're going to be covering 4 profit centers today in our 24-week challenge. Hope you guys are excited about that. What are your 4 profit centers, right? What are your 4 profit centers? That's what's important. All right. All right. Let me know you're here, guys. Talk to me. Let me know you're here. I want to hear from you. I want to know where you are. What are you doing out there? Hey, James, welcome back, bud. Good to have you back on here, man. Glad you're here. Glad you are here. Linda laughing at me. I don't know why you're laughing at me, Linda. Steve says, hey, Zach. Looks like the studio. You're right, Steve. The studio was not done when I got back. So, good point, Steve. So, yes, the studio is still under construction. I had hopes. So, John said, what's up, Zach? Greenville, South Carolina here. Good job, John. Mona, hello, Zach. Hello, Mona. Tony, West Texas. Awesome. Meredith says, I'm here and watching for your words of wisdom. I love that, Meredith. I don't know if I planned any of my words of wisdom, but they come out, don't they? So, excuse my voice. I've been in LA all weekend, teaching all weekend. I mean, we just literally had an amazing event. Lots of new investors coming on board with real estate because of the market that we're in right now, and they're excited to get going. I'm excited to be helping them. I really am. Told a lot of them that didn't know about this. I told them to come here. I told them to join the community that we have going here. I mean, we're 47,000 plus investors on this page, so that's amazing. It's a miracle, really, when you consider this time last year I was only getting like, I don't even know how many we had. We might get like 5 views. Now we get thousands of views and hundreds of comments, all because of you guys. So it's great. Toby says, hey everyone. Toby says, hi Zach and Jill. Hey Toby. Robin says, hello, hello. Good to have you guys on here. How was Cali this weekend? Cali was amazing. We had the hit guy from Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington, come in. He did a great job. Shared his story, shared his information. I had my business partners there sharing their information. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better group of investors at that event. I mean, it was incredible, really. I personally, and I know I have a biased opinion, right? So, let me get this little thing off my screen. I know I have a biased opinion, but I thought it was great. If people come on this feed that have been there, let them tell you. This one good thing about our students is they always will tell you what they think. So, but I thought it was a great event. I can't tell you how much people were coming up to me saying thank you. Like their eyes were opened, right, of what we were doing. And I think that speaks volumes to our team. I mean, so many people came up to me and said, Zach, like the synergy between you and your team and your staff is just untouchable. And I think that has a lot to do with our purpose, right? Our mission to change 10,000 lives this year. To help more people this year than we did last year, and to help more people next year than we did this year. I think it all kind of encompasses that. And I think that is really the bigger purpose, right? And so, was California event great? I think it was. I think we really helped a lot of people. I think some people's eyes got opened up to how easy this business really could be with the right support. I think some people were trying to make this business way too complicated because they just could not, get out of their own way in a lot of cases. Or just some of them has been just involved in too much. They were doing too much and they didn't need to do that. I gave some homework assignment on Friday, and we had one gentleman come back, found 5 doors, 51% cash on cash return. We had another gentleman who went out, found a deal. He could have flipped it. There was a buyer in the room, one of my partners actually, who lives in the city where he found it at, would have paid him, $5,000 to $10,000 assignment fee, or he could take it down himself for $40,000 profits. It's just simple things that we need to understand. Like, the business itself can be overwhelming, right? The business can be overwhelming. But it's because we make it overwhelming. It's because we try to think of everything that could go wrong. And the reality is we don't put enough time and energy in what could go right. And I think that has a lot to do with why a lot of people just get stuck and they don't move forward, or they just have a hard time. So, and I think that has a lot to do with the growth of individuals when they come spend 3 days with me, like in LA, that they wake up, they see like how this stuff is done. Because a lot of new investors, they confuse things. Like, they confuse with buying houses from an agent to fix and flip with wholesaling, or they confuse wholesaling with, double closing. And so they confuse the terminology because they haven't gotten enough training. They haven't been to a live event, or they haven't spent 3 days with me. And so I think the 3-day event really helps people unfold what they need to be doing. And I think that's why we had so much success this weekend. So much success, okay? Robert Coop. Oh, Mr. Coop's in the house. He said, fantastic weekend. Must attend for all real estate investors. Love it. There you go, guys. So I can tell you how great it is, but people who were there can tell you, like, that event was a game changer. It helped people understand how simple this really is. It helped people understand what they actually need and what they don't need. It helped people understand where to find the money that they need and where not to find the money. It helped people understand how to, find the deals that they were looking for. It helped people find, not just where to find the deals, but the buyers and what strategies to use, and why, if someone's trying a strategy and it doesn't work, it's because they haven't really learned enough yet, or they haven't been around the right coach yet, like me, to help them understand market segmentation and zip code matrices and clustering. And that was that was literally, when I started teaching clustering and segmentation, like, people's eyes were like it was the missing piece to their puzzle. Like, it was very clear that was the missing piece to a lot of people in that room's puzzle. Like, I knew it instantly when I started teaching it, and people were just in awe. Like, no one has ever taught me this. I had people in that room that had been trying to do this business for 3 and 4 and 5 years. And then they'd come to my event for 3 days with me. And on day 1, they pulled me to the side and they said, Zack, I've been going to seminars for years, and I've learned more in day 1 than I've learned in any of those seminars in all the years I've been going. Like, that makes me happy. You understand? Like, that makes me happy. But what really makes me happy is when people take that information and they go apply it, and they put it into their everyday life, and they go after this business every single day, and they make it happen. Do you understand? When I got started, we didn't have what we have today. Like, I had to get up and I had to grind every day. I had to grind every day. I had to grind every day. And I couldn't make excuses. I couldn't sit around and complain. Are there going to be days when you don't find deals? Yeah. Are there going to be days when you get frustrated? Yes. But think about it. I tell people this when we were teaching clustering. If you're trying a strategy in a market that you live in, and you've been trying it for 2 or 3 or 4 months and it ain't working, it's not that the strategy don't work, because it's proven. I mean, we proved it this weekend with people doing deals literally on day 1. We proved it at our 2-day immersions when students put together 163 deals over a 12-hour period. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just you're trying it in the wrong area. That's the problem, right? So you have to learn how to look and move around markets to get to the best deals. And that was something that we really helped people get done. So Meredith says, hello is back. I know. I'm not even going to entertain him today, Meredith. So Tyrone says, hey, Zach. Hey, Tyrone. Steven says, yes, this is the missing piece. You're talking about that segmentation and clustering. It absolutely is the missing piece. Ariana says, hello, Zach. Hello, 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 hello. So anyways, love it that you guys are on here. Hey, if you're brand new, let me know you're brand new. Come on here and tell me if it's the first time you've ever been with us. I'd love to hear that. Hey, also, just so that if you are new and you're wondering who I am and why am I sitting here at this home office, well, my name's Zack Childress. You're in the right spot. I am your real estate coach, and I'm a real estate investor. I've been doing this business for 16 years plus, and I can tell you that I started with nothing, and I've built it to something, right? And I love real estate. I'm in it every day. I'm helping people every day. The success stories are absolutely why I keep doing this. When people stop complaining and they start listening, that's when we have success, right? When people get out of their own way and they say, look, yeah, you know what? I did try it this way. It didn't work. Now I'm going to listen to you. Things start to change, right? And that's why I do what I do. That's the purpose that I do that. Man, is that old Marcel Humphrey on here? Look at there, man. I hadn't seen that guy in so long. Man, I miss you, Marcel. I hope you're doing good up there and up in your neck of the woods, my friend. So you just got to remember, like, when you're growing, you can't always allow the past to control your growth, right? Because are there going to be times that you might have tried things in the past that didn't work? Yes. Are there going to be times where you might have done some things with other people that didn't work out? Yes. But that's water under the bridge. You will never move forward. You will never move forward until you let go of that and you focus on the growth that you want to go down. So Meredith says, thank you. You're welcome, Meredith. Elaho says, I'm listening. Now that I will respond to, Elaho, because now you're saying something that makes sense. So Jim says, I hope Elaho is listening to your advice. Jim, I do too, but you can't help them all. You know what I mean? So Tyrone says, yes, it's my first time. Well, welcome, Tyrone. We're in a 24-week series. So let me explain that to you. We're in a 24-week challenge right now. I'm challenging you guys to hang with me for 24 weeks. We're on week 6 right now, okay? So we're in a 24-week challenge. We're in week 6 right now, and the challenge is that you come here, you learn. I'm teaching you each week something about the business. We've gone through branding and contracts, and we've gone through all this stuff up to this point, okay? And now, today, we're going to be digging into the 4 profit centers and what each one of those are and how they apply to your business and why you should be using them in your business. So that's the challenge. The challenge is for you to show up. The challenge is for you to come with a clean and ready mind to really help grow your business. Why? Because it's your choice. It's my model, right? My model, what I say it all the time, the choice is yours to dig deeper. That's right. And I got the hiccups right now, and I'm sorry. But the choice is yours to dig deeper, okay? The choice is yours to dig deeper. That's what it boils down to. You can choose to hang on to the negative in your life. You can choose to always talk about what's going wrong in your life, or you can choose to embrace new information. You can choose to embrace the glory in which we live in. You can choose to embrace the journey that we're going to go down, and it all requires you to dig deeper. And if you understand what I'm saying there, just type in, I'm with you, Zach. Just let me know that you're with me. Let me know that you're hearing me, because today's lesson is week 6 of our 24-week challenge. It's your choice to listen. It's your choice to apply. It's your choice to make it happen, but you've got to dig deeper. So let me know that you're with me. Just type it in. I'm with you, Zach. And I would like to know. Toby says, yes, I'm completely done with that. It's true. You will never move forward. Oh, absolutely. Jim says, welcome, Tyrone. I love our community. Everybody saying hi to everybody. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, you guys should always be welcoming the new people, because here's why. If someone's new and they're just joining us, they may not know who we are or what we're about here. And you guys that have been with us for a while know that we're just giving love every single week on these Facebook pages, where we're putting it down, where we're sharing the information to help you grow. They need to hear that from you guys, not just me, okay? You guys, not just me. Ariana says, I'm with you. Tyrone says, I'm with you, Zach. Good job. Forget about the past, failures, and focus on the present. Love it, Ariana. That's the attitude, girlfriend. Robin says, with ya. Good job. Meredith says, brand new. Got your program just 2 weeks ago. I've been studying and taking the first steps towards my goal. Wanted to be in California, but advised not to get there yet. Instead, I look forward to listening each week. Meredith, you're doing it, girl. You got the course. You're going through it. Apply it. Study it. Work it. Come back here. Here's the best advice I could give anybody on this Facebook Live right now. This is literally free. This is free for you. You can't come on here and say, just help me, just help me, just help me, just help me. There's nothing there, you understand? And Eliho, you should really listen to this. If you have the training, then you can be specific about the help. So you could say to me, Zach, I'm inside manual 2, and I'm going through this, and this is the scenario that I ran into. What advice do you have for me? That's a specific question in our real estate investing talk show that we do on Tuesday. That is a beautiful way of designing your help. You can't assume that you're just going to go out there and say, somebody help me, and the whole world's just going to throw money at you. It doesn't work that way. You have to be specific in your help. Like with my mentors, I don't go to my mentors and I don't say, help me. I don't do that. I go to my mentors and I say, look, mentor, look, John, look, Tim, I have this scenario that's going on, and these are the things that I'm trying to get done, and I keep hitting roadblocks with this. What would you do different for me in that exact scenario, so that they can actually specifically help me with a topic that they're having a hard time in? So that's something that you need to get real clear on. You have to be specific in your questions to get the right help. Steve says, I'm with you. Good job. James says, I'm with you, Zach. And all my time, I still lose. Eliho, you're not working hard enough. That's the best advice I could give you. So, somebody help me. See, there you go, Eliho. I'm gonna have to kick you off of here, buddy, because you're being a victim, man. So. All right, Meredith says, I'm with you, Zach. Good job, Steve. You can't change the past. Live in the present and look at the future, your goals. That's right, Steve. Man, see, you guys are getting it. You're absolutely getting it. You're absolutely getting it. You're absolutely getting it. You have to let go and you have to move forward. That's what you have to do, okay? Eliho, I'm going to answer this one question for you, and then I'm going to actually ban you from this group, okay? Because you cannot be helped at this point. I've said it over and over. I'm not going to continue with you. I'm going to answer this one question. You're not going to like my answer, so I'm going to have to do this to you because you sound like a broken record, okay? You say the same thing over and over and over again, which tells me you don't listen, okay? And anybody else on here will repeat the same answer to you. You said you went to try to sign a contract with a homeowner and they wanted 20% down. That is absolutely nonsense. A homeowner can't even dictate how much you put down. That's from a bank. That's from a bank. So your question is absolutely nonsense. You can't go sign a contract with a homeowner and them tell you how much to put down. So you said they need at least 20% down payment and they need a pre-approval. That's actually, excuse my language, that's BS. Okay, his real name is what? You got somebody on the inside. Sharif. So Sharif, here's the deal, buddy. You can keep saying the same thing over and over and I'll keep giving you the exact same answer. but you're not listening, okay? And I'm not gonna waste everybody else's time on this feed that's here to learn and actually apply to keep answering your same question over and over and over again, okay? So I will ban you, just know that, all right? Okay, from what we stated, yes, everybody, let's jump into this. So I'm glad you guys are with me today. 24-week challenge. And here's the beauty of this. We're on week 6, the 4 profit centers. 4 profit centers. So I want you to write this down with me, okay? So here's what I want you to understand. Jim says, thank you. Jim, look, there's always one person that's going to try to control the whole thing. And you guys, there's so many of you here that are enjoying this and getting value out of this. You know, I apologize, but, you know, I want to help him. I really do, Jim. But the guy just won't listen. He drives my office crazy all day long, calling in there too, asking the same questions over and over. So write this down, 24-week challenge, okay? You're on week 6, okay? Week 6, which is the 4 profit centers. So let's go through profit center 1 for you real quick. Profit center 1 is really, if you were to draw out a set of stairs, okay? Let me just see if I can help you visualize this. You should all visualize this, okay? If you had a set of stairs, okay, that look like, I don't even know if you can see that. You probably can't even see that. I don't know. Maybe you can see that. Set of stairs. And then you said this was profit center 1, this was profit center 2, this was profit center 3, and this was profit center 4. So if you laid it out like that, right? Profit center 1, profit center 2, profit center 3, profit center 4. That's really how the steps happen in your real estate business, okay? That's how you start to grow. That's how you start to, you know, climb the scale as a real estate investor. Now, people say to me all the time, well, Zack, how do you know which profit center to be in? Well, this goes back to if you've gotten my book, I have a book called My First Deal Playbook. It's on Amazon. You can search My First Deal Playbook, and you'll find it. And inside that book, I talk a lot about these 4 profit centers and how most investors, they give up because they try the wrong profit center and they don't really do the profit center that's really for them, okay? And so that's why I say to you guys, you got to really think about where you are and where you want to be, and you got to make sure that you're in line with the profit centers. For instance, if you're the type of person that has no money, you have no money, and you have horrible credit, and you can't even get an asset lender to work with you, then you need to be focused on profit center 1, because profit center 1 is the easiest way to get in. It's where you're selling contracts, you're wholesaling. And this might help a lot of the confusion with some of you that think that, you know, when you're dealing with agents, why they ask for a lot of information, and you might assume that that's what the homeowners want, and that's not. The homeowners don't do it. I've been doing this 16 plus years. I can tell you right out the gate, homeowners have no clue with what most agents are asking you for. Profit Center 1, just to get clear with you, has everything to do with you working directly with, listen to me, you working directly with for sale by owners, okay? Profit Center 1 is everything that encompasses wholesaling. Now, wholesaling has nothing to do with buying houses. Wholesaling has nothing to do with going to a bank to get a loan. Wholesaling has nothing to do with working with an agent. So let's get clear on that, okay? Oh, Lord have mercy. Wholesaling, listen, stop typing and listen for those of you that need to be listening, right? Some people can't shut up long enough to hear the advice is the problem. Wholesaling has nothing to do with banks. Wholesaling has nothing to do with asset lenders. Wholesaling has nothing to do with closing on a property. Wholesaling has nothing to do with any of that. Wholesaling doesn't even have anything to do with agents if you don't want it to. Wholesaling has everything to do with working with for sale by owners, okay? Wholesaling has everything to do with just going directly to a for sale by owner and negotiating a deal with a for sale by owner. That's wholesaling, okay? That's wholesaling. Wholesaling also has nothing to do with the financing. So when I get a rhetorical nonsense question or statement that says the seller wants me to put 20% down, then I know very clearly that somebody's just lying to me. Because sellers can't control that. Sellers can't tell you to do that. Sellers have nothing to do with you getting financing. And the other side of the equation is you're not getting the financing. You're the wholesaler. You're putting the contract with the seller, and you're taking that contract and you're selling it to a buyer, a cash buyer as a traditional wholesaler. You literally have no bank needed. You have no proof needed of funds. You have no need to get a down payment. You have no need to close or open up. You don't have any of those needs. You simply are getting a contract with a seller, and then you're selling your rights to that contract to an end buyer, okay? That is wholesaling in a nutshell. That is tier one investing, wholesaling. So many people get confused with wholesaling because they think that means they go to an agent, they get a property at a discount, they buy it, and then they turn around and sell it at a higher price. That's not wholesaling. That's just flipping houses. That's what that is. Wholesaling has everything to do with getting a contract, selling your rights to that contract to an end buyer, and then that buyer needs to make sure he gets his proof of funds together, he goes to the bank, he gets his 20% down, 15% down, whatever his bank requires him to do, and that buyer then does what? Closes escrow with the seller because you've removed yourself from the transaction by using an assignment agreement. And we talked about this weekend in LA and all the things that are in that. And there's certain clauses you got to make sure you put in there that gives you the rights to assign it, like buyer reserves the rights to assign. Buyer reserves the rights to take title in name or entity of choice. So that's my point. Now not to confuse you guys, but tier one encompasses a lot of different wholesaling strategies. For example, wholesaling, you have traditional wholesaling, which is what we all know. Find properties at a discount, find a cash buyer, and wholesale the contract, right? Remember this, guys. As wholesalers, you're not selling a property. You don't own the property. You don't even have the rights to own the property, okay? So you need to make sure you understand this, is that you are selling the contract, okay? The contract, okay? That's what's important to know about that. Edaho, I'll answer this question because you actually typed in a reasonable question this time. And it said, the lawyer for the seller asked me to put 20% down. No lawyer, there again, Edaho, no lawyer can dictate how much you put down. You understand that? That is against all regulations, against the Fair Lending Act. No lawyer can dictate how you put money down. That's the beauty of that, okay? This is why you're here learning, so that you become a smarter investor. No lawyer can dictate how much you put down. No seller can dictate how much you put down. And here's the beauty. If you're the wholesaler, do you even have to worry about how much gets put down? No, because are you getting a loan? No, you're selling the contract. The only person that can dictate how much the buyer puts down is the bank based on their fair lending rights, their programs, their risk analysis. They're the only ones that can do that, okay? They're the only ones that can do that. So just know that. So inside tier one, you have traditional wholesaling. You have co-wholesaling, which is where you're working with other wholesalers to sell contracts. You have wholesaling the option, which is when you put a property under contract with seller financing available and there's no real cash flow to be made off of it. Then that means that at that point that you can then wholesale the option to the tenant buyer and move on. Lots of success in that. You have wholesaling to a financed buyer. This is where you use the demand of funds letter. You have wholesaling commercial, and you have wholesaling REOs. There's really 6 forms of true wholesaling strategies that can be done inside of tier one. You don't need to do them all. Do I suggest you learn them? Absolutely. That's how you become a master wholesaler. But you start with one at a time, okay? You start with one at a time, all right? That's tier one, wholesaling. That's one profit center into your business. So let's go and see what we got going on here. Stay focused on Zack. Tell him, AC. James says, in wholesaling, how long should you try to get the contract length for? Well, in wholesaling, remember, we're selling a contract. We're not buying anything. No one can tell us how much we have to put down because why? It's against fair lending laws. They can't do it. No state. It's a national. It's nationwide. It's called the Fair Lending Act. Those all go to the bank. The bank then tells you how much you put down based on your certain situations. Like I have banks that only require 15. I have another bank that requires 20. I know another bank that requires 25. They're the ones that control because here's why. They're the ones putting the money out, okay? But every contract is a 30-day close. I ask for a 14-day contingency period for inspections. And as a wholesaler, that 14-day period is my period in which I get in and get out of it. I get in and get out inside that 14-day window, okay? Good question, James. But I will ask for an extension if I need it. Steve says, how can you put your assignment fee on the HUD? That's a good one, Steve. So if you want your fee put on the HUD, you just have to put that in the assignment contract. You just have to write it in the assignment contract that states that, you know, your marketing fee or your consulting fee or your assignment fee is to be paid out of escrow. And so therefore, whatever the fees that are going into escrow, the escrow company will then dictate your fee to come out to you. Or another way is you use a demand of funds letter, okay? Use a demand of funds letter. So, which is another good way to get paid out of escrow. All right, Michelle says, LA was great. It was awesome meeting. Oh, awesome meeting you. Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate that. Toby says, I got it. Edaho says, this is what happened in New Jersey, Newark. Hey, I've got students in New Jersey that are wholesaling Edaho, so it's not you're not educated enough, Edaho. I'd be happy to keep you on these feeds if you keep asking good questions like this. And this is how you're going to learn. But I'm here to tell you that you can't isolate your market. So, all right. Darius says, if wholesaling in another state or others in another state other than my home state, do I have to set up another entity in that state? No, you really don't. But it's just like if you own a business here, like I own a business and I do real estate all over the U.S. It all comes through this business. So now if you were going to buy and hold, I would suggest you do that. Deanna says, this sounds like a dumb question. No, Deanna, don't say that. Only dumb questions are, well, we won't talk about that. No. But my fear is if I find a wholesale contract and don't find a buyer, I don't have a buyer list yet. Diana, that's a good fear, but understand this. That's why you stay inside that 14-day window. It's called a contingency period. It's what allows you to get in and get out, okay? It's what allows you to get in, get the contract, control the property with the rights to assign your contract, not buy it. Remember, we're not buying it, so therefore we don't need money, we don't need a bank, we don't need down payments, we don't need any of that, okay? We're just putting a contract together, and we're going to sell that contract. Well, let's say on day 12, Diana, that your buyer or a buyer is just not wanting that property. Well, at that point, you would then just go back and say, look, I'm executing my right to pull out of this agreement based on my contingency period. And so that's your window of getting in and getting out. Edward says, make sure you state business days. That's very true. That will give you the few more days. Absolutely. So he's saying state business days instead of just 14 days. Because like, for example, if I put a contract out for 14 days, then what? I got 2 weeks. But if I put a contract out for 14 business days, then I've got what? 2 weeks and 4 days roughly. So, because a week has got 5 days in it. So it really, it gives you a little bit further extension. So, sellers don't want to sell to wholesalers. Sellers want full money. Elaho, that's actually a good question. So I'm going to answer that one for you. So you're getting better here. You're confused. Okay, so please stop typing and listen to what I'm going to say to you. You're confused. You wrote, the sellers don't want to sell to a wholesaler. Sellers want full money. So listen to what I'm about to say to you, Elaho. Sellers are going to get full money from the buyer you wholesale the contract to. Sellers aren't selling to a wholesaler. You understand me? You're not buying it. You're contracting it with the intent But if you don't have the money to do it, then you're going to assign that contract to a buyer who's going to buy it, okay? You're just confused, my friend. I think if you'll stop thinking about all the negative and listen, you're going to get somewhere, okay? But that's a good question, you know, because some people may wonder, well, why would a seller sell at a discount? Well, not all sellers will sell at a discount. It's a numbers game. You know, the thing is you should be calling 10 to 20 people a day, and out of that, you might find one, because they're not all going to want to sell you at a discount, and you shouldn't let it discourage you. You should just move forward. It's a numbers game. Think about it. My 2-day immersion, we called 700 plus people to find 163 deals. You follow me? So you have to make, you got to dial. You got to get out there and keep pushing forward. So Edward says, Hello, if you don't want to deal with you, they don't need to sell. Bad enough. That's absolutely, Edward. You're absolutely right. Hello, well then, you know, if that's what they're telling you, then hang up the phone. If they're telling you they don't want to deal with you, then hang up the phone. It could be a language barrier. It could be, you sound to me like a very negative person. So maybe that's coming across on you. You need to control how you communicate to get better at communication so that they want to listen to you and want to sell to you, okay? And if they don't want to sell to you, then you got to move on, Elaho. You have a problem letting go of the past. So you hold on. If a seller says no to you, don't hold on to it. Move on. Just like James says. Read from the other students, Elaho. They're telling you what to do here. They're not motivated. That's right. Carly says, I love how patient you are. I'm learning from you. I could say what I want to say, but I'm not going to do that because I think he's starting to come around and he's starting to ask real questions now. So I want to help him. Diana says, in order to get sellers to sign a contract, what do I say if they want to know buyer's name or if I have a buyer? No, you're going to sign it with your buyer's name. That's the purpose of the contract, is you're putting the contract together, and I'll put, you know, buyer Landmark Property Investments. Okay, Landmark Property Investments. But in my contract, I'm writing in my contract, buyer reserves the rights to take title and name or entity of choice, which gives me the rights to do what? Sell that contract. I'm not closing on it. I'm not going to the bank with it. I'm selling the contract. And so that's where the intent crosses, is at the point I'm looking at it and saying, hey, this might be something I want to do. But on the other side, I'm making sure I can execute and sell that contract. So, and the assignment, Diana, you need to come to one of my live events. You really do. We go over this in great detail. You need to come to one of them. Melody says, Zach has scripts if you don't know what to say. That's very true, Melody. Very, very true. Oh, Edward says I'm talking out. Bless you, Edward. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. So, we're trying here, man. We're trying. So, all right. So that's wholesaling. Oh my goodness. I just got a little pop-up post here. So Bruce wrote on here on one of my things, he said, Zack Childress is one of the most talented, gifted, and genuine individuals I'd ever met. If you want help in this business, do yourself a big favor and get to one of his events. They sell out quickly, but Zack will bend over backwards to help those that want to be helped. Keep doing what you do, Zack. Wow, that was awesome. Thanks, Brucey. Old Brucey Bruce. That was awesome, man. That was awesome. I will bend over backwards to help those that want to be helped. I really will. Especially the ones that want to let go of all the negative and start being more realistic and start like listening and start applying. I will help you. I'll help you all I can. That's why I do this show. I want to help people. So really, 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 really want to help people. So, all right. So let's move on to Profit Center 2. Profit Center 2 is all about creative structure. So creative structure is all about how do you control properties and make money off of them, right? Like how can I control a property and still make money on that property? Well, that's through creative financing, okay? And creative financing comes in all types of shapes and forms, from wraparound mortgages, to contract for deeds, to land installment contracts. There's just so many of them. One of my favorites and one of the easiest ones for anybody to apply is that the lease option. The lease option is my favorite tier 2 strategy, and it's easy to get across because it's a long-term lease with the option to buy. And that is something that a lot of sellers need help with, and here's why. So think of it this way. Oh, I think I lost you guys there. Sorry about that. Somebody was trying to call me on my live show. So we're talking about tier 2 and lease options and why they're so important. And the beauty of the lease option is this, is that there's a big need for a lease option type deal out there, okay? And that is where we talk to a seller and we get them to leave the financing in place that's already on the property, okay? Which means if they have a loan on that property, the seller does, we leave that loan in place and we do what's called a long-term lease with the option to buy that property. And that's a great strategy, especially for people that are in like pre-foreclosure or expired listings, or sometimes in the rental ads, you can find people who are renting because they couldn't sell it and they have a payment pain. So I'm here to encourage you that if you want to build cash flow in your business, then what you need to do is you need to take your business into more of a lease option strategy if you can't go to the banks and get financing. And that's targeting the right person. So what it is you have a long-term lease. So you're putting a lease on a property. So that lease could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It just depends on what you negotiate with the seller. And in return, if you fulfill your lease, you have the option to buy that property. Or you could even say, I want a 4-year lease, but I want the option to buy this property at any time during this 4-year lease. Now, people will say, well, why would a seller do that? Well, a seller will do that because they can't keep up with their payments, number one. Number two, they might be facing foreclosure and they can't sell it because there's no equity in it. So so the other side of it is people say, well, why would you buy a house that has no equity in it? Well, because the long term of it, right? I'm looking for properties that can produce cash flow. So let me give you an example. If somebody has a property that's $200,000 is what it's worth, and they owe $195,000 on it, well, the likelihood is no investor's ever going to want that property. And number two, it makes it hard for them to sell that property because why? Because they I'm sorry, I get distracted when all these pop-ups start happening all around me. They can't sell it with an agent because there's not enough equity in it, right? There's not enough equity spread in it for them to even pay the commissions, and they don't even have the money. So the challenge is they have to face foreclosure, or not just face foreclosure, or they might lose the property, right? And so they become vacant, they walk away from them. So when you come in and say, look, don't go to foreclosure, don't ruin your credit, I'll take it over. I'll take over the debt that's on the property, I'll make your payments for you. I just want a 4-year lease with the option to buy it. And so if I fulfill my lease, then I'll buy it. Now, why is it beneficial to them? Because you're taking over all their headaches. This is not a rental property. So you're not saying, look, I'm going to rent it from you. You're saying I'm going to lease it with the option to buy it, which means I'm not calling you to come fix a broken window. I'm not calling you to come fix a clogged toilet. I'm not calling you to come over and, do things to the property because I'm going into ownership. I'm going to own it one day, so therefore I'm going to take on all that risk. And so that's the beauty of that type of lease with the option to buy. Now, even on top of that, it gives you the advantage to sublease it, which is why it's called a sandwich lease option. And that's a beautiful thing because that's when we take over their payment. Let's say their payment's $600 a month, but I can rent it for $900 a month. Okay? Well, then that's why I want that deal, because I want to make the $600 a month payment to them, but I'm going to rent it for $900, so I make $300 a month off what's called the spread, the difference in what I'm renting it out for and what I'm paying the homeowner. That's why we call it the perfect tenant program. And so the perfect tenants are people who have down payments. These are people who have good jobs. They just don't have very good credit, and they can't go to the bank and get a loan. That's what you have to think about, and that's why the program works. There's a whole process to it. So that's a tier 2. It's the next step, right? We start with wholesaling, we create cash flow, or not cash flow, but we create capital, I should say. Then we move into tier 2, which is how we create some cash flow for our business, right? Without buying anything, without getting a loan. Both tier 1 and tier 2 don't require you to go to the bank or even get a loan. They don't require it. And that's the beauty of those 2 programs. Then you move into tier 3, which is fix and flip. It's all about rehabbing. That's the beauty of now you're moving to the next level. Now, when you go after rehabs, as a rehabber, are you buying from wholesalers? Yes. You are. You're now buying those contracts that you were putting together as a wholesaler. So you're buying contracts from wholesalers that you now go to the bank, and the bank dictates or tells you how much you've got to put down to get a loan to buy that property, or an asset-based lender or a hard money lender. They're going to tell you how much you have to put down, and that's going to be where you understand how much capital you need to do tier 3. Where do we create that capital for the down payments? Through tier 1. We can create it through tier 2 also, because when a tenant buyer moves into a property, they give you what's called an option fee. It's $2,000, $5,000, could be $6,000 that they pay you up front for the option to buy the property. But that leads you into tier 3. Let's see what some of the questions we have coming in. In order to get the seller to sign, we answer that. We answer that one. Elaho says, okay, awesome, Elaho. Edward says, I'm talking, yep. Darius says, what CRM, phone system, and lead generation system do you recommend for total automation? Ugh. Total automation? That's a tough question, Darius. I use Voice Connect Inc. as my phone system. Our CRM, I use Infusionsoft. You could use Aweber. When you say lead generation system, there's not one lead generation system that does them all. There's just not. We have the UIS system, which is what we and our coaches, staff, and our coaching students use. But there's not. I honestly don't believe there's one fix. I really don't. Is there yet to be one created? Maybe down the road, but even if you create one, there's still so many ways to find leads. There's so many different ways to find leads that one system will never be able to create your lead generation platform. You understand? You could have a lead generation platform that generates some leads for you, but never all of them, because there's just way too many ways, from wholesalers to bird dogs to outbound dialing to inbound dialing to direct mail to SEO to advertisement to solos to retargeting. I mean, I could go on and on and on. So James says, wholesaling is just like the bank selling notes. That's exactly right, James. That's exactly what it is. I mean, that's exactly what the banks do. Toby says, Zack, you're doing a great job on handling these unuseful objections. And you worked so hard this past weekend. That's blessed. Thanks, Toby. Thanks, Toby. Steve says, you're back. Yes, I am. Edward says, they save their credit and you get the cash flow. That's exactly right, Edward. You're spot on, my friend. You got it. James says, but, oh, here we go. But won't, oh, that but word right here it comes. But won't you have to make the back payments if they're about to go into foreclosure? Not necessarily. Good question though, James. I saw the but there and I thought, uh-oh. That's actually a really good question. So James' question is, well, if you're now only if you're marketing to pre-foreclosure people, right? His question is well, if they're behind, won't you have to clean up their arrearages? Back payments is also known as arrearages. And yeah, if you want to get them out of foreclosure, but you don't have to pay that. You understand? So let's say I'm talking to a seller, his payment's $600 a month. Let's say he's behind 2 months, so now he's what? $1,200 behind. When you add in fees, he's probably more like $1,500 behind. My tenant buyer has to pay me an option fee to secure that contract. Let's say I'm securing $5,000 from my tenant buyer. Well, I'm going to take the $1,500 out of what my tenant buyer pays me, and I'm going to then use that money to clean up the seller's arrearages so that I'm not coming out of pocket any money. So good question, James, for the lease option. Yes, James. Steve says, is it still a good deal if the lease option, if the owner's behind on their mortgage? Absolutely it could be. We've just discussed that. Those are usually the ones that are some of the best, because if you've already got your tenant buyer list built and working it, then you're going to be using their option fees to pay off the arrearages so that you pull the property out of foreclosure. So, yeah, you know what, Steve? I know the REI guys, Jason and Damon. I know those guys. It's a decent system. I'm not going to say it's not. So, Ariana says, let's say I have $30,000 cash and want to start flipping houses with a mentor from your team. Of course. Would it be possible, or would I need more cash? No. You could do both. You could absolutely do both, Ariana. You could get a mentor on your team. That would be easily, we could talk to you about that depending on what's going to be the best fit for you to get you to the 2-day immersion. Anything above that is what I would suggest. And then from there, we could set some reserves, and then from there, we could start working you on the ladder that I built out. Remember the ladder that I drew out? We could start working you on the ladder, starting you here, then moving you to here, and then moving you to rehabs, and then moving you up. It would also have to do with like, where are you in your market, you know, so like, to really understand where you should start at and how to get you where you need to be, Ariana, you just need to get on the phone with one of my student advisors, because they would be able to start to say, okay, here's where you are, Ariana. Here's what you need to do depending on your market. Here's some lenders that you're going to want to work with. Here's some strategies that we need to get you going in. And then we need to put you in the 30-day fast track and start working you through your segmentation and your clustering, and really get you to understand the approach that you need to go down. So, but that's a great question, Ariana. And thanks for just putting it right out there, right? Like that. I love that about you. You're just like, hey, look, here's the situation. Like, can I do both? Yes, you can do both. Absolutely. So, Elio says, just tell me form where I can start. You should start with studying. Elio, if you're my brother, here's what I would tell you. Stop doing real estate. That's what I would tell you. Absolutely. If you were my brother and you were hitting me with all these questions, I would say stop doing it. It's stressing you out, man. It's making your life harder than it needs to be. And you need to just spend some time studying what real estate can do and how it can be done before you go out and start trying to do it. Because honestly, you're not ready for real estate investing. You're really not. And you're just so far away from actually achieving success from it, because you need to study, man. You need to really study it. Some people catch on faster and some don't, and that's okay. You just need to slow down, stop calling sellers, stop looking at properties, and you need to really study, man. You need to spend some time alone studying your skills and studying your craft and studying the knowledge and really focusing on what it is that you want to do from this business. And you need to dig deep, man. You need to figure out what it is that's going to hold you in this and how you're going to succeed. But I would tell you, I'd give you a hug, I'd tell you I love you, and I'd tell you to stop trying to do real estate. That's exactly what I would tell you, my friend. And start studying, okay? You start studying. You start coming on like the Facebook shows, listening, learning, putting time in, and stop trying to tell everybody about your sorrows. No one cares about your sorrows, man. No one does. So when you start putting it out there, they don't listen to you. That's why they run from you, man. You have to understand that whatever happened to you in the past will not control your future if you let go of it, okay? All right. That's important. It's very important. It's very important. You got to let go of the past. So, Ariana says, thank you so much. You're welcome. You're so welcome. You're very welcome. Melody says, Ariana is talking to Joseph now. Awesome. Edward says, hello, you need to read Zack's book. I know. We're all trying to help him here. He just can't receive it yet. See, some people want help, but they don't know how to receive help, so therefore they'll spend the next 10 years of their life in frustration. So you have to really be in a place mentally and in your heart to receive information, and that's the only way you get it. But you know, I can't tell you how many times in life I've tried to help people and all they're doing is waiting on you to stop talking so that they can tell you everything that's wrong with their life. You just can't help them. They haven't let go enough. They haven't really embraced the new journey yet. So James says, great info, Zack. Gotta go. See ya, wholesaler now. Awesome, James. Go knock them dead, buddy. All right, so the fourth one and the final one of the 4 profit centers is where you all want to be, right? Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, which is fix and flip, rehabbing, where you go to the banks, you go to asset lenders. You're actually acquiring funds to buy a property, to fix it up, hire a contractor, and make money, okay? The next one is buy and holds. That's where you want to be at, okay? Buy and holds is when you're getting into cash flow. It's where you're buying long-term assets. And look, that step 1 to step 4, some of you might be able to pull that off in 3 weeks. Some of you might pull that off in 6 months. Some of you might not be able to get to tier 4 for 2 or 3 years. But don't get discouraged with it, okay? Just know that everybody gets to that level differently, and it has everything to do with their knowledge. How much knowledge do they have about the business, and can they execute like they're supposed to? Their resources. What do they have available to them to help them grow? And obviously their support. It's all about knowledge, resource, and support. That's what it boils down to. You know, do you have the knowledge it takes to grow this business? Okay? Do you have it? If you do, then yes, you can move into starting the business. If you don't have the knowledge and you don't even understand how loans work, like how you have to go to a bank or how contracts work. If you don't know that, then you need to keep studying, right? You need to keep studying, you need to get the right support, and you need to keep studying with a coach, mentor, something of that nature. If you've got the knowledge that you need to help you move forward and you have resources, then it makes it easier for you to move into tier 3, tier 4, which means you'll get there faster. If you don't have those resources, then with the right knowledge, you can create those resources with the right support, right? And the support is just to help you get the knowledge you need, create the resources that you want so that you don't make mistakes moving forward. And that's really the 3 core fundamentals to understand. Do you have the knowledge, and can you get it, and where can you get it? Do you have the resources? And if you don't, what do we need to do to create resources? And do you have the support to help you get to where you want to be? So, hello, I've already told you what I think you should do, buddy. I don't think you should do real estate right now, man. I just don't. I think you need to study. You need to get my book, maybe get the 30-day fast track, watch these videos, go back and watch all the videos from last year. You just need to study, man. And that's my advice for you. You're not ready for real estate, man. Steve says you can't push a rope. Listen and learn. It's so true, Steve. You can't push a rope. So guys, that's what I got for you. If you got any other questions for me, type them in. But I've enjoyed my time with you here today. I appreciate all you guys supporting our tribe here, our fans. I appreciate you guys giving feedback to others that are struggling. You know, I know sometimes it can get frustrating, you know, when you're trying to help somebody or you see somebody that's having a hard time figuring it out, you know, but sometimes they just need a little love too, you know. They need a little tough love at times. And, you know, sometimes it's hard for them to let go of the past. And it's hard for them to overcome, you know, maybe losses. And, you know, but at the end of the day, all you can do is try to support them and try to give them some love and value and help them grow. You know, that's all you can do. And it's up to them to receive that. You can't make them receive it. And so I appreciate all of you that are helping other people on this feed and, you know, and pushing people to do more. And so I appreciate you guys for doing that. So AC says, peace out. See you, AC. Be good, my friend. All right, no more questions. Well, guys, week 6 for profit centers. We just knocked it out, okay? There is all kinds of information on the internet. That's how I learned. Way to go, Edward. So, So week 6 we just knocked out. Tomorrow in our Dig Deeper show, we're going back into our 7 habits of highly effective people. And we are going to be digging into first things first. That will conclude the 3rd habit, which is our private victories inside the 7 habits. So tomorrow's class on Dig Deeper Wednesday will actually conclude our private victories, which encompasses the first 3 habits. So I hope to see you guys on that one. First things first is very important. It really helps us understand what we need to do first. This will help a lot of you that are struggling with maybe going out there trying to do deals and you're not ready yet. You got to do first things first, right? You got to get the knowledge first. You got to get the right training. So appreciate you guys. Jim, you're welcome. You're welcome. Scott, you're welcome. I'm glad you guys were on here with me today. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 1:30 Eastern Time Zone on our Dig Deeper show. We're finishing up habit 3 on the 7 habits of highly effective people. See you guys. Bye.